Now the citizens will just eat vegetables because it's the healthiest food that there is, and we do not want our citizens to fall ill. You cannot eat fried foods because we do not want you to get food poisoning. You see, the moment you cross the line between giving you a choice, giving you options, and telling you what's good and what's bad and what you should do, and tagging you down with what you have to do, is the moment the opposition has a problem with the state, right? So in today's motion of this house will, as a doctor, this house will vaccinate children with or without parental consent. I will be showing to you why side opposition has a stronger case today, and I will be putting my explanations under two questions. Firstly, what sort of society is promoted under their model? Secondly, whose rights are we preserving under our model? So, if we compare both the cases and answer, let's compare both the cases and without any delay, let's start with the first question. What sort of society is promoted under their model? Now, the very idea that all parents are against vaccination is where the proposition goes wrong, right? Thing is, why will parents be against vaccination in the first place? Either they have a lack of knowledge about that issue, or their child suffers from a particular problem, or the child might have allergies which the particular vaccinations may trigger. This is where parental consent comes into play. Firstly, our model has talked to you about the fact that if the parents don't agree to this, then a way of making them agree to this would be to make awareness programs or campaigns or sessions or free vaccination programs which will enlighten them about the necessity of vaccines in our daily lives, and they will further know more about why their child needs these vaccinations and how these vaccinations will be helpful for their child in the long run, right? So if these awareness programs are successful, then obviously more parents will understand the needs of these vaccinations and they will concede to it, and then they will give their child vaccinations in the first place. So side government comes in and says that awareness programs don't work because the people are determined to not give vaccinations to their children in the first place. Or awareness programs exist in the first place to change an existing idea in society. So awareness programs are there so that this mindset that parents may have against vaccinations can be changed. So thus, these awareness programs will make these vaccination campaigns successful. So what sort of society are they promoting in their model? They've talked about how the child's health interests outweigh the parents' right in the states, and how it's the doctor's obligation to work towards a healthier society. And they have given us comparative analysis of that. Well, to break and dissolve their constructives, I would say, as my LO has already mentioned, the fact that to build a healthier society, you need to start from the individual person. So the moment you start compromising the individual's needs to meet the greater goods of society is where you fall flat, because the society that you're trying to make happy consists of mostly parents, and when you take away their basic right of their custody, which they're of the custody which they're entitled to of their own child, is the moment where you create a very unhappy society, because most of the citizens of your society will be parents, and now you're upsetting them, and not this whole balance of creating a healthier and happier society gets upset because, well, you are not caring what the parents have to say when it comes to the health of your child, and you are injecting something into their child's bodies and they do not like it. So that results in a very unhappy society, right? So moving on to the second and the more broader question that was asked in the House today, whose rights are we preserving under their model? Now, they have talked about how the child's health interests outweigh the interests of the state, and that is very true. The child's health interests do outweigh the interests of the state. So you see, as a normal citizen or as a normal human being, every person has a right to the freedom of choice and to your body. But when you are a child, that right is entitled to your parents, because you cannot decide for yourself what's good and what's bad for you. So your parents are entitled to the right that you have then. So if you're taking away the parents' basic rights to make this decision for you, is when you're upsetting and when you're not giving that very basic human right that the parents have over their child. So you see, my second speaker has already established the fact that parents are entitled to the custody of their child. So that right is being taken away by the state. Now, let's talk about the role of the doctors. So, the government has come up and said that the role of the doctors is making sure that he has a healthier society. And the doctor shouldn't care about the prejudice that the parents have against vaccines, because they want the greater good of society, and they want a healthier society. And also they've talked about how vaccines are common and informed things. Now, for the vaccines and are common and informed things part, people disagree or people don't let their children take vaccines because they're not fully obviously aware of these things. Because if they were, then no parent would want their child to die out of an illness, right? So obviously that point still stands about our awareness programs. So moving on to the doctor. The role of the doctor and the rights of the doctor in preserving the rights of the parents as well as the doctors. Government required vaccines violate privacy rights and personal freedom, and it also abuses the doctor-patient relationship, where the doctor in the Hippocrates Oath swore that everything comes down to his individual patient and their rights. So the moment you apply to this new population-based ethic, in which you are thinking that the needs of society is greater than your individual parents, right? It's when that the doctor-patient relationship is disrespected. All right. And then, if you think that the government has a right to forcibly vaccinate your child, as my LO and DLO has said, then what is to prevent them from sterilizing people or euthanizing people for the good of society, or putting a tracking device in people for the good of society? This may seem very far-fetched, but 2 out of these 3 things have already happened, right? So under this model, you are not preserving anybody's rights. So the child rights, of course he has a right to health, but since he is not capable of making his decisions for him about what is healthier for him or what is not healthier for him, that decision entirely goes to his parents. So under this model, you're disrespecting that right that the parents have over the children, the custody of the parents have over their children. And then further, you're disrespecting the doctor-patient relationship, in which the role of the doctor is itself. He is there to advise you. I, as a doctor, I cannot force you to do something. I can advise you to do something. I can tell you that you should do something, but I can never, on no grounds, force you to do something. Which is why before every surgery or before every surgery or something, you need the consent of the patients, right? Because that is a basic human right. You cannot force me or tell me to do anything which I have not opted to do. Which I have not chosen to do, right? So, obviously the parents have more rights over their child, more than the state or more than the doctor. So this decision parents should be involved in the decision-making process, as my LO and DLO have already said. So what have I shown you so far? I've shown you that although the proposition believes that awareness programs will not work, I've shown you that awareness programs exist to change an existing mindset in society. I've shown you how this motion upsets the rights of the parents and the doctor, and disrupts the doctor-patient relationship. And I've also shown you that this model, their model, will result in a very unhappy society, because to develop the society as a whole, you need to start from the basic foundation of the society, that is every individual. So if you start benefiting every individual, that's when society will progress as a whole. And thus I believe that we should take this debate home. Thank you.